Thank you for joining us. I'm Marni Hughes, and this is Missing on News Nation. Each week, we cover a missing person case from across the country. No matter their race, religion, background, or circumstances, every missing person matters. As family, friends, and even complete strangers looking for them. That is where you come in. By watching and sharing these cases, our hope is we can find answers and offer closure. This week's featured case, Mischa Johnson, an expectant mother, vanishes on the Hawaiian island of Oahu. Late July, the last time Mischa was seen or heard from, when her husband filed a missing persons report.
He's been trustworthy to her, to our family. Why give him the benefit of the doubt?
And for a while, the family did give him the benefit of the doubt. But it wasn't long before their trust was broken and the details in this case began to unravel.
His level of cooperation has been limited.
Coming up, this case takes a tragic turn. The evidence police found inside the couple's home and where Mischa's husband is now. News Nation Law and Justice contributor Jennifer Coffendorfer is standing by. She will join us in a moment to discuss the developments in this case. First, though, several other missing cases that we are currently following. A deer hunter in Wisconsin discovers human remains near the community of Two Rivers. The same town 3-year-old Elijah View disappeared in February. The remains were found on private property. We are still waiting on the medical examiner for a positive ID. They are not saying yet if it is Elijah. This little boy's mother and her boyfriend are both behind bars facing charges of child neglect. Dog the Bounty Hunter is joining in the search for a missing teen from Tennessee, a case we have covered extensively. The reward for information in the case of Sebastian Rogers is now up to $100,000. Sebastian was last seen in February when his mom says she went to wake him up in the morning. He wasn't there. Dwayne Chapman, also known as Dog the Bounty Hunter, spoke to News Nation's Ashley Banfield about this case. He believes Sebastian is caught up in a domestic squabble and is likely alive.
And because I'm not a real law enforcement officer, I can do a lot of things that law enforcement cannot do. And I don't break the law, but I will bend it till its fracturing point. I'm going to hunt these people down. I think the boy is still alive.
Anyone with information in this ongoing case and investigation can contact Chapman's tip line at 833-835-5364 or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Lots of you have shown interest in one of our most recent missing cases, the mysterious disappearance of Brennan McGinnis. The young man from Maryland vanished days before Christmas, his car turning up 2,000 miles away in the Arizona desert just 2 weeks later with the license plate removed. And a note. While police say it looks like Brennan took off on his own, not everyone is satisfied with that theory. Here's part of my discussion with Law Olmsted, president of the Missing Persons Center.
I think foul play needs to be mostly considered because none of the other details make any sense. I think it's kind of easy and convenient for law enforcement to do two things: is kind of say someone is voluntarily missing, and another one is that it is possibly a case of potential self-harm. That kind of takes them off the hook a little bit. If I were assigned this case as an investigator in law enforcement, I would first do the best I could to rule out foul play because it just seems obvious something happened here. None of this is fitting together. And we need to start with his inner circle, his friends, some family members, but people that he associated with on a daily basis. There's too many questions surrounding around Maryland for sure. So foul play to me is a 60% chance still at this time.
Right. We are taking law's questions and concerns about this case to investigators assigned to his disappearance. We're going to let you know what we find out as we continue to follow this one. Meantime, if you have any information that can help in the search for Brennan McGinnis, you can contact the Coconino County Sheriff's Department in Flagstaff, Arizona at 928-679-7120. Now to the disappearance of Mischa Johnson, 6 months pregnant and excited about becoming a new mom. Mischa vanishes on the island of Oahu. Her family desperate for answers as they learn someone they thought they knew, who they trusted, may have betrayed them in the most unimaginable way.
She is happy, loving. She loves children.
A lover of life and children, Mischa Johnson was thrilled to soon be a mother herself.
Raising a daughter, doing the hair, doing makeup, dressing it up. I mean, it would be her little mini-me.
At 6 months pregnant, the 19-year-old told her mother she already had a name picked out.
Marni Kitana.
At her home on Schofield Barracks, an Army base in Oahu, Hawaii, she was excited about a new chapter with her husband, Private First Class Dwayne Arthur Johnson II.
Very loving, very loving. They were tied to the hip. They were inseparable.
That's what made a phone call from Dwayne to Mischa's family so concerning. Mischa hadn't been seen or heard from since July 31st. Her husband had filed a missing persons report. Mischa's mother says they had no reason to think he was involved.
He's been trustworthy to her, to our family. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
But soon after, things started to change.
I will say that the cooperation coming from him has been very limited.
Mischa's husband stopped cooperating with investigators and Mischa's family, leaving them blindsided.
Total, complete shock, disbelief. I mean, he celebrated every milestone and had happiness with us, joy, acceptance in the family. It hit all of us.
A week after reporting Mischa missing, Dwayne was taken into military custody. He's been charged by the U.S. Army Council with charges related to Mischa's disappearance. Searches for Mischa still take place nearly every week, even after new information shared with Mischa's family has led to a heartbreaking conclusion.
There is a lot of forensic evidence that was found in their home that proves that no human would be able to come out alive from the home. As a parent, I would love to honestly say she's still with us. But there's so much evidence right now that points that she's not. And that's the reality of it. And I face that reality every minute of the day.
Investigators believe the public may hold the key to what happened. They're looking specifically at time periods between July 12th and August 1st.
Someone has to come out and say, hey, I saw him at this restaurant. I saw him at this store. I saw him here. Give a date, a time, something specific.
For now, Dwayne is in military confinement with no set release date. The Army says more charges could be coming.
It's a very, very serious concern about her health and welfare. But until we actually have more facts and more information and can physically say where Mischa is, it becomes very difficult for us to draw any conclusions.
Mischa's mother feels the loss of her daughter and her granddaughter every day.
He took 2 people from me. He took 2 people from me. And I can no longer make memories with them.
But her instinct to protect her, stronger than ever.
Allow me, when I pass, that I can say and look my child in the eye and say, I fought for you, and this is what I did, and this is the outcome. I hope you're proud.
What a complex and heartbreaking case this is. News Nation Law and Justice contributor Jennifer Coffendorfer is with us now. Jennifer, I know you have read into this case. One of the big questions I have right off the bat is how an investigation like this unfolds when you have a branch of the military, a military member involved, and now facing some charges within his immediate unit, and local law enforcement. How do the two walk alongside one another to get to the answers?
Well, the Uniform Code of Military Justice is what is going to govern this case, Marni. And that is because you have a military individual and you have a crime scene, apparently, that is actually located on this military base. For that reason, this is a federal matter and investigated by the Army Criminal Investigative Division.
And how are those cases handled, Jennifer? Because we're used to cases that play out within local police departments in terms of evidence and prosecutors and clues that lead us one way and another in an investigation. Because this is within the military, is it more private? Is it harder to get that information?
It is much more private, Marni. It's very much within their own unit and within the military that this is going to be adjudicated, that it's going to be investigated. I'm glad to see, though, that they did come out, that special agent in charge, and talk about the case because like him, it is crucial that the public be able to help provide clues as to where the whereabouts of that red Mustang that he owned was in that time frame.
Right. So Dwayne Johnson's red Mustang is missing. It's really like looking for a needle in a haystack. And Jennifer, as we speak, there are search teams in Oahu that are looking for that Mustang and any other clues. In fact, we spoke to a searcher just a little while ago.
It's definitely a needle in the haystack. And I say this because they're looking at that Dole plantation, which is 12,000 acres, Marni. And this is vegetation, these pineapple trees. I know you've probably seen photos, Marni. It's unbelievable how difficult it would be to conduct this search. So it's very difficult.
Let's listen to that searcher now. And also it gives us a glimpse into the tough terrain, Jennifer, that you're talking about.
How can you not feel touched to come and search? You know, so for us, it's just like one of, you know, when one person needs help, like we all got to come together and help.
So as we look at this video, it is a really dense area, probably easy to hide any evidence in this case. But the other thing that they have working for them is these folks know the area, right? They're familiar with this type of terrain.
Yes, absolutely. Most of them are indigenous to Hawaii. They grew up in that area, as we can see by the photographic evidence here. And Marni, I think the other thing they have going for them is the fact that they are conducting these searches in a grid type fashion. They are doing it very organized. They're keeping track of what's been searched and what hasn't. And that's always a positive. What they have working against them also, though, Marni, is wildlife.
So you've got military police, but can local law enforcement assist in that grid search? Can they offer resources and support if necessary?
Absolutely. They can definitely work hand in hand. It really just depends on the relationship that those different entities, local, state, and those federal authorities have. But typically when it comes to these search parties, the more the merrier. CID is going to want to invite as many people as possible to put eyes on this 12,000 acres and look for her.
Jennifer, as we just indicated in the piece, the family thought they knew Mischa's husband. It was somebody that they trusted, and now he is facing some charges connected to her disappearance. And at one point, that trust starts to unravel, and the case takes some really tragic twist. And we start to hear more about rumblings of domestic violence, potentially between the couple and even on the military base. We talked to a woman who lives on the base. She's been there 10 years and said what she has seen is domestic violence getting worse. Here's what she shared.
Do you think that things are getting worse?
Yes, I do. I never heard about this level of domestic violence and homicide as we have since we've been stationed here.
This is troubling for investigators on the base as they try to understand what happened to Mischa. Does it also complicate the investigation and how much and which direction they go and what they're able and willing to share?
Well, it does complicate everything from the standpoint of you don't have any witnesses that are really there saying there were major issues. You don't have family coming out, but domestic violence can be really a silent killer. You know, everybody says what happens behind closed doors, no one really knows. And this was an example of that. But Marni, the charges they have him held on are extreme, not the false statements and the obstruction, but they got him with child porn. And not only did they charge possession, they charged distribution, Marni. That's a 20-year violation. I'm sure they discovered it when they looked at his phone to figure out where he was.
Right. So the charges he's now facing, by the way, he was arrested and is in custody. The charges are providing false official statements, obstruction of justice, and then, Jennifer, the one you bring up, production and distribution of child pornography. They also say more charges are coming. And I want to get to that heartbreaking soundbite from Mischa's mother talking about the evidence found in the couple's home, leading her to believe that no one could have made it out of that home alive. It is so devastating to hear that mother's pain. We don't know what that evidence is, but based on what she has shared, where does that lead you investigatively?
Well, it leads me to believe that the luminol tests that were conducted in that scene show a horrific profile, if you will, of blood, likely. And that profile or imaging that is created from the luminol, they can probably see that something horrific happened. And that's, I believe, what is leading her to say no one could survive that.
As you read this case, what else stands out to you? Questions that you and others are asking about where the investigation goes?
Well, I think anytime you have a victim like this, she's what we call a low-risk victim. She's pregnant. She stays at home. She's close to her family. She runs in circles that are very close and very tight. And so they're going to be looking, of course, in that direction. And what did they find? They found likely, anyway, a direction pointing at her husband. And this is very troubling, of course, anytime we have a domestic violence incident. But again, it's what sadly has become expected when you have somebody in a low-risk circle of friends, including their husbands.
Right. And then the other layer to this horrible layer is that she was 6 months pregnant. I mean, she was on the cusp of becoming a new mother, something that she was so excited about, and now the potential that a second life may have been lost.
Absolutely, Marni. And according to statistics, homicide is actually one of the leading causes of pregnant women in our country. And this is just another example. Marni, I was also going to point out that thankfully there is a lot of footage apparently that law enforcement has been able to find at stores. And they did find footage regarding purchasing of cleaning products and tools. I think that's also helping them in their investigation. They're really using these building blocks, but they really need to find Mischa.
Yeah, that's where the public comes in, seeing this story, sharing it on your social media pages as they piece together all of the evidence. Jennifer Coffendorfer, as always, much appreciate your time.
Thank you, Marni.
Police and the family need the public's help to understand the events and the timeline surrounding Mischa's disappearance. If you have any information that can help in this case, an ongoing investigation, you can contact police at 808-208-0059. Again, the military involved in this investigation. Next time in our Missing series, the search for Samantha Tapp. This is a case taking us all the way back to 2004, the last time Samantha was seen. According to the group Uncovered, law enforcement working this case considered Samantha a runaway, but her sister does not believe that's the case. In fact, she's kept the same phone number for years, hoping that one day a call comes in and it is Samantha on the other end of that line. The latest on Samantha Tapp's disappearance out of Texas, that is next week in our Missing series. And if you have a missing person case you think we should look into, scan the QR code on your screen. You can also check out other cases we are investigating and submit tips by going to our website, newsnationnow.com. As always, thank you for joining us each week for Missing. I'm Marni Hughes in Chicago. I'll see you back here next week.